Hello, everyone. My name is Cathy Conley, and I'm here with you at Knox County Central High School, and I'm going to tell you about our KVEC project for the school year 2019-2020, and it is called Puppet Pals for Patriots in the Pod. And it was put together by myself, Miss Cathy Conley, and Miss Stephanie Miller. We're co-teachers in a collaborative 9th grade classroom. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about what we did and why we did it and our overall results. So we have the grandpa and we have the awesome little girl. So when we started to talk about our problem of practice, we said the big thing that our 9th grade needed was to be more involved and to have more confidence and to feel like, you know, they had something to identify with, because you come in the 9th grade and you don't always have something to identify with. So here's some of the things that we noticed about Knox County Central High School. There was a significant increase in the number of special ed students in the 9th grade for the 2019 and 2020 school year. And so that forced us to do some thinking and forced us to do some changes on how we would accommodate so many different students with so many different needs. And so two teachers, that's Miss Stephanie Miller and myself, we took a chance, and I came up with the idea, if little kids can learn from puppets, then big kids can teach with puppets. And it was a crazy, wild idea, but I went with it, and the kids have really adapted well to it. And so the things that we saw in our classroom is that they became very engaged with the puppets and then became very interested in doing podcasts about the puppets, or as the voice of the puppets, like Salty Grandpa or Crazy Cat or whatever. And they really got into it. And so you see in this slide, it's the first day that I ever got them out. I have puppets in all different ethnicities, jobs, even some animal puppets. And the cool thing about this, and you can even see in their faces on this slide, when the kids come in, they say, are we going to use the puppets? If it's a puppet day, it's awesome because I can tell their emotions, their state of mind, what kind of like whole class mood we got going on. If somebody grabs the lion, immediately I know that's the day. He's having a lion kind of day. Or the Salty Grandpa, or whichever they grab. But they do love to engage with these puppets. And so here's some data that we discovered. And so we didn't get the puppets until early October. And when they came, we were having individual participation from students at about 25%. I mean, it was about, 1 to 2 days out of the week, they made themselves involved. Student to student was about 15%. They were even more withdrawn and shy about being, discussing with their partners. They would talk to us some, had some student to teacher involvement, and their written response, Salty Grandpa, is bad. The written response was just really, really tough. And their attendance, Salty Grandpa again, not great. So I got the puppets out. We got the puppets out. We started playing. We played with them for the first day or two, just to let them get used to them. But then by December/January, the individual participation went up to 60%. And that really pleased us. Student to student, it grew up to 35%. Student to teacher, they really started talking to us a lot more. It got to 55, and the written responses, Salty Grandpa is pretty happy. It went up some. It went up some. I'm okay with it going up at least some by around Christmas. But their attendance and participation was astoundingly changed. And when I say attendance and participation, I'm including tardies in that category. No tardies, because they didn't know who was going to get what puppet, and you got in first and you had your first choice. And so it really changed that up. But then by the end of our study, which I'm still going on with this in future years, but at the end of our year this year, in February, March, as you can see, the percentages came up quite a bit, especially with attendance and participation. And that's the big thing, because you can't teach them if they're not here. You can't engage them if they're not, present in class. And so it just became a big influence for us. And also, Salty Grandpa, the written response was so good at the end, toward the end. It was getting up there. I'm pretty sure we could have gotten it to 80%. I just know we could have. And so this slide shows a guy, and he is a collaborative student, and this is actually on Halloween. And so he came in that day and he said, "Oh gosh, I have to get the referee." And I said, "Who else would you get?" And so he was so proud, and he was one of the collaborative students who fell into the below 15% on participation from the beginning. He was very withdrawn, very shy, and you see that big smile, and he's right where he needs to be, and he loved it, and he loves it. And so one of the things that we found, there was a significant increase in communication skills and confidence in learning with our students. And other teachers in other classes have said, "I don't know what you do with those puppets, but they talk about them all the time." And so maybe it's bleeding into other classes. We hope it is. But I predicted this, and I found this hypothesis to be true. If they have something to hold, a lot of times they just are more engaged, more likely to feel like they're part of something. And so these tangible objects, puppets, and the podcasting materials really helped my students get engaged. And at the bottom of this slide, you'll see no fouls in room 112. We had some fouls, but we don't remember. We don't count those. We just, those are gone. But we learn as we go. And then after a little bit, students began to use the podcasting equipment. You can see headphones, and then the iPads were actually at school, but they could connect on their phones. And they used puppets sometimes to talk, like Salty Grandpa voice, or they would just use their own voice and just talk about what they've learned in a unit, in a day. I mean, it was the most flexible thing ever. And it allowed students who had missed or gotten behind due to this or that, they could pair with someone who just taught them, like, this is what we did. Listen to this podcast. This is what we did. And they loved it. They loved it. And so here's just a final shot of some more puppets and some kids just having fun. This is an Appalachian literature class where they were acting out part of a James Steele section of River of Earth. It was mighty good. But I just want to thank Quebec, and I also want to give props to Miss Erin Gruel. She's one of my mentors, and she told me a phrase a long time ago: teach one to teach another. And listen, these puppets are teaching them to teach each other, and they've taught me more than anything else. And so I really have had a blast with this. Our future goals, we do have future goals. And I wanted to transcend way beyond room 112. So our future goals are to help all students at KCC improve in these critical areas of learning: reading, revision, practice, and presentation of knowledge and ideas. Who doesn't want that? That's all over the board. Everyone wants that. Clarification and confidence in speaking and listening skills. that's really super important, especially in what we're facing today with having to do Zoom meetings and different things. They are hopefully used what we learned with these guys to talk with their teachers and classmates and Google and Zoom and all that. We also saw this was probably my biggest one. Assessment minus anxiety. They didn't care. Salty Grandpa will take that quiz, and he took that quiz, and he would score higher than the kid. You know, it was almost like a competition, and you beat Salty Grandpa. And I mean, they just loved it. They just felt like it was part of them. And then reflection and discussion. Well, that was kind of more with the podcast parts, but the puppets sometimes would have to summarize what we'd done, what we'd said. And it was just a great big bunch of fun and learning in room 112. And so I would like, before I leave, Salty Grandpa and the girl, see ya, they're gonna leave. All right, I would like to just thank some people that helped me along the way. Miss Kimberly King, our Knott County Superintendent, Mr. Kelly Hall, our Knott County ARI Grant Coordinator, Mr. Bobby Pollard, our KCCHS Principal, Mr. Jamie Couch, our Vice Principal, and the 157 students in room 112. And also I want to thank all the persons who work at KVEC, and there's too many to name, and I don't want to leave anyone out. So I really have enjoyed this project, and it was, like I said, it was a marriage of two ideas of the Puppet Pals for Patriots and then the Patriots in the Pod, and I put them together, and they just matched up so well. And I'm very fortunate, and I thank you very much.